Hello, hello, hello. I'm Ed Jones II. I'm the founder of the Beyond the Field program and an experienced player development professional. This podcast is here to bring exposure to the player development field with the goal of creating generational impact in athletics and other surrounding areas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend time with me on this platform. In today's episode, we will continue our series called The Questions of Player Development. We will begin the show after this ad. This podcast is brought to you by Beyond the Field Program, LLC. Beyond the Field is now providing consulting services. The services are the following: staff consulting, program evaluation, program creation, and player development education. Please head to btfprogram.com and click on our consulting tab to find out more. We help you help athletes create generational impact. All right, today we continue our series called The Questions of Player Development. This past year, I collected a number of questions for my next book that I would write. I decided, why not bring the book to this podcast? Today, we'll cover questions 19 through 21. Question 19, the player development role can be overlooked. How does this help you with your future role? First, I'd like to begin by saying I enjoy keeping things off others' desks. I take pride in that. Keeping things off the head coach's desk, administrator's desk, whatever it may be, solving problems, I take pride in that. The fact of this position being overlooked at times has helped me become better at the following: problem solving, critical thinking, detail, communication, and anticipatory leadership and skills. You may ask, how can being overlooked at times help you develop? Well, I'll use a football analogy here. I'll use a long snapper. So a long snapper, they're the people on the field that snap the ball for punts, field goals, extra points. Most of you listening to this are probably like, I've never heard of a long snapper. Exactly. Nobody notices the long snapper until something goes wrong. So I pride myself on solving things and being consistent and not being known, because I don't want something to go wrong and then now being overlooked. It's like, hey, there's Ed Jones. I also use the long snapper analogy because I did it when I played football back in the day. Okay, so when we talk about problem solving and critical thinking, which I talked about these two in episode 7, go back and give a listen. I like using, once again, the long snapping analogy. It's something that I did. I've been around long snappers, and they're incredible people. Shout out to the long snappers I've been around. It's a lot to list. So I'll just keep it short. But shout out to my main guy, Logan Klussman. But in long snapping, seriously, those guys go through so much, and they do so much, and they go unnoticed. And that position is definitely overlooked. And they take pride in making sure that nobody knows who they are, in a sense. It's the craziest thing. If nobody knows who you are as a long snapper, you're doing your job. So I kind of took that, that mindset I had when I played, the mindset I've seen in long snappers with me in this role. Okay, I'm going to be overlooked. Cool. That it is what it is, but I'm going to make sure that when attention does come my way, it's not going to be because of a problem. So I sit in meetings, I listen to the issues and the opportunities we may have. I take notes, then I go to my office and brainstorm these solutions. During this time, I am critically thinking about how this opportunity may affect the student athletes and the program. It's critical thinking. I'm thinking of ways we can communicate with the players, because that's huge. Situational awareness, when is this coming? How are we doing this? Hey, what situation are we in? Is it finals? Is it this? That kind of goes into calendar timing and awareness. Where are we in situation? Where is this? Maybe it's a situation in the locker room. Maybe it's a situation in society or a team, and maybe it's not the best time to do this. So I'm thinking about all those things. Once again, calendar timing. Maybe we don't need to give them this much. They just got here last week. But I'm going to my office after we have meetings, and I'm thinking, okay, what, with these issues and opportunities, what can we get done? How can we solve these? If something I can get ahead on with the players, then I do. If I get ahead of it, hey guys, we're going to need you guys to do this thing. And I don't give all the secrets, right? You go to this meeting, you want to just tell the players what's going on, but you can give them something. Hey guys, if you guys can start getting your IDs, maybe I was at the University of Houston, we had an opportunity. One of our bowl ties was the Bahamas Bowl. So you have to start getting birth certificates, passports, things like that. And so you're not telling the guys, hey, we're tied to the Bahamas Bowl, but you're saying, hey, we need this identification. Now, if they ask, of course, you let them know. But you're thinking about things like that. Hey, guys, we need to start preparing for these things that are coming down the line. If it's something bigger, I will go to my direct report and let them know, hey, here's my solution to this issue or opportunity. This is what I think can happen. Kind of my experience with the players. This is what they're going to think. This is what they're going to say. So here's something that we can do. When we talk about detail is very important in this role. In this role, I've created many documents to help me stay on top of my task. This helps me because like people ask me, and I've talked about this before, people say, hey, what does a day look like? I don't know. I never know when I walk in. It could be, whatever email or text message I got first can really, set the day for me, And so I want to keep a lot of documents because I got a lot of things coming across my desk. As I mentioned in many other podcasts, I'm responsible for the development of 120 young men. We're talking about somewhere from, I've had 16-year-olds to 25-year-olds. And so that is just a lot, right? There are a lot of notes taken and a lot of things that have come across my desk. So I'll write notes and I'll put little things here, put it there, whatever it may be. And I come back and I'm like, oh, what is all this? To help with this, I created the following documents: player communication forms, practice notes, daily player notes, monthly student athlete communication plan, weekly checklist, daily organization checklist, community impact areas, community impact plan. These have helped me greatly in my role to put everything on paper and to have it detailed and organized. So if someone comes and asks a question, I can say, hey, here you go. This is it. And they can help you also. So if you go to btfprogram.com, you can download these documents that I just talked about for free. Communication. Communication is another one. My communication skills have developed greatly in this underrated role. I've gotten better at communicating what I do and how I help the program. I have been in meetings where I have been cold called and asked to talk about a player, program, and situation. I had a head coach, at this university I was at. He called me out during a recruiting meeting. He's like, hey, tell me what you talked to him about. How was y'all's meeting? So I went all the way through the spiel, and I was joking with some people on staff with a quote from one of my favorite rappers, Andy Mineo: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So the communication has helped me with that. Also, the position is overlooked in areas of decision-making and resources, but as you solve problems by critical thinking, others take note and will begin asking your opinion on things. So you may be overlooked when it comes to, the bigger deals, when it comes to decision-making and resources, with how we're going to do it. But if you continue to critically think, solve problems, they're going to start coming to you. It happens. It happens. In athletics, you may not always be given a heads up of when you will communicate. So be prepared and take time to work on articulating how you benefit the program. I've had a deputy AD at a school that walk into my office, unbeknownst to me, and we just started talking. He's like, tell me about this. And I was able to communicate. I was able, like I said, the documents, I'm able to grab stuff. Hey, here you go. Read this. This is what we're doing. So you got to be prepared. Over communication of what is going on in the player development department helps bring awareness to the work being done. Over communicate. You get an opportunity. I had a card that said 5 minutes with the head coach. And I would literally write these notes and be prepared. If he came in my office, hey, I was going to talk to him about what he needed to talk about, and then talk about, hey, this is what we're doing. What do you think about this? Is there any changes we need to make? Anticipatory skills. This one has helped me a lot. This is possibly the skill which has grown the most in my time in this role. I learned about anticipatory leadership and skills from Craig Groeschel and his leadership podcast. If you're not listening, give it a follow. Shout out to Craig Groeschel. I've grown so much from that podcast. This teaching by Craig helped me begin to look forward and anticipate the issues and opportunities that could possibly become realities later. So now I'm looking, because you can sit there and say, oh man, I'm being overlooked, man. They don't know what they got back here, blah, blah, blah. Or you can say, you know what? Let me take my thought power and not worry about being overlooked, and use my thought power to go to something that's going to come down the line. Use my thought power to create anticipatory solutions to things that are coming. And so that's something that I've done. I have a little sheet that I do. I put on my desk and kind of go through that anticipatory deal. But it's really helped me a lot. One of the biggest things I started to do is called an end of the year review. I began this at Kansas because I kind of wanted to highlight the resources we may need in the player development department. But I was blown away by this review. I was just literally listening to everything we were doing in a detailed manner. So this is what we did in community impact. This is what we did in, personal wellness. This is what we did in career development, different things like that. And I was shocked at how much we did and how much the players had accomplished. And, it ended up going for something I was thinking 2 or 3 pages. It was 7 pages. And when I handed it to my, supervisor, he was like, wow. And so I do this ever since then. I've done it, an end of year review. I encourage all of you all to do an end of year review. You could be in player development, student athlete development, whatever your profession is, your occupation, do an end of year review. It helps. If you would like to learn more about the end of the year review that I do and kind of how I structure it, reach out to me on social or email me at info@btfprogram.com. Question 20, how did my previous coaching experience help me in my player development role? First of all, I want to give a shout out to the coach who has the most impact on my development, my journey to this point. And that's my guy, Patrick McGinnis. Shout out to Coach McGinnis. Thank you so much for all you've done for my life and career. And thank you for believing in me and giving me an opportunity to impact the young men at my alma mater. The thing about high school coaching, and this is why I respect so many high school coaches. I've been able to work with high school coaches on the college level, is you got to win with whoever walks through that door, And we can't recruit like it's like college. You can't go out and recruit and say, hey, we want this player. Oh, he fits this, he fits that. No, whoever walks in here, we got to win with. My coaches, I walked through the door at Hightower High School, and they had to win with Ed Jones. 3 things that stick out the most, which have helped me in my player development role, are strategic planning, communication, and adaptability. So when I talk about strategic planning, this is the reality of winning with those who walked in. That reality developed me tremendously in creating strategic plans for the players I coach at my position, right? I can't sit there, I've been around coaches and I work with some coaches. Oh, he can't get it done, or blah, blah, blah. Help him. Well, you're the coach. You're the professional. Find a way to help him get it done. If it doesn't work at your position, maybe he needs to play another position. But have you exhausted, your knowledge, your expertise to help this young man out? I had to spend time to create effective practice strategies to help them perform effectively. I was coaching wide receivers at the school I was at, so we had to create, I was coaching 4 different spots, and so we had to figure out how to create a practice strategy where my outside receivers can run their routes, inside receivers can do this, in a run game they do this, but I'm sitting there creating this. I had to get to know the players and what they could and could not do to ensure we put them in the best place to help them execute. You just can't put them out there and say, hey, I need you to run go routes. So-and-so ain't that fast, or so-and-so is better across the middle, whatever it may be. I found out, and I had to do a lot of communication, getting to know these players to put them in the spot that helps them the most execute and helps our team win. This is used in player development when programming, programming opportunities for athletes under my influence. You get the programming, you help them, with what they need for their life to succeed, to execute. It's helped me greatly in creating customizable plans for my student athletes. Communication. That's huge. I talk about communication a lot. It's one of my core values and something that I want to get better at every single day. Communication was very important as I would take the game plan for the week and have to ensure the players understood their responsibilities to help us win. Here I am coaching receivers. I got freshmen all the way to seniors, and I'm having to communicate with them. In the classroom, we call this differentiated learning. My room was filled with 13 to 18-year-olds. So communicating in a way which got the message to all was imperative. You had to communicate it. Maybe I had 15 minutes in a meeting, or even at practice, you got a 10-minute individual. You have to figure out how to communicate so they all can get it in some type of way. You have auditory learners. You have, physical learners, people that want to learn things, kinesthetic, I believe it's called. You want to learn it by doing it. So I had to figure that out. Taking those lessons I learned and communicating to the players at my position has helped me communicate effectively with 120 players. So now I moved to college football and I got 120 players, and their ages are anywhere from, I've had 16 to 25, as I said earlier. And you're communicating with them. Hey, this is what not only what's expected on the field from your position coach, because I'm not coaching football at this point, but I'm coaching, the standards. I'm coaching what you're going to do academically, what you need to do socially, what you can do athletically. You're communicating that to a new group of people with a whole bunch of different backgrounds and experiences. Adaptability. Adaptability is a huge part of coaching. It is normally highlighted when coaches make halftime adjustments. So, you watch games and they go in at halftime, you get 30 minutes, 20 minutes to make adjustments. That's when people start talking about, oh, the coach did a great job adapting or changing, whatever it may be. But as a coach, it is a part of practice. It is a part of game planning and weekly preparation. As a coach, you have to make decisions on the fly and adapt to the circumstance in front of you. It may be an injury. It may be the weather. It may be a new look from the other team. You got prepared for this look, this certain coverage, this certain front, whatever, what have you, this certain defense, and they switch it up on you, and so you have to adapt. Whatever environment you are given, you have to adapt and make it happen. No matter what the environment is, you have to make it happen as a coach. So adaptability is big in player development. As resources may be slim, calendars change, players may change their commitments. There's a lot of things that happen, but whatever the environment I'm given, or if you're given, you have to succeed. These 3 things I learned while coaching helped me succeed in a role I did not know much about when I started. Question 21. What have I found to be the most beneficial initiative that I've implemented? The most beneficial initiative I implemented happened with Kansas football. During 2020, there was a lot going on in our country. I don't have to spend time on that. You all experienced it. We had COVID and racial and social unrest. Our student athletes had many thoughts on these topics. I would see their thoughts, concerns, and solutions on my timeline. So I decided, let's get all these guys together and make an impact in Lawrence. With that, I created the KU football player committees. These were created to allow our student athletes to use their voice to create generational impact. So we wanted to give them a voice, but we also wanted to provide a space where they can create action, and effort to create the impact they wanted to see. The committees were social action, player wellness, community impact, and career development. These committees helped spearhead 15 initiatives for the football program in the span of 6 months. I was blown away by just the passion, the effort, the commitment that our student athletes had. This was the greatest professional development I've ever had in my life in this role. As new ideas came about, how to do things, it was incredible watching these guys lead, I learned so much from them. Shout out to the athletes who created impact during a time of conflict and uncertainty. And I'm about to give them a shout out. There's 20 of them. I couldn't go any further on this podcast without saying their names. They are Jelani Arnold, Cole Brungart, Sam Burt, Nick Cottle, Nick Channel, Miles Fallon, Denzel Feaster, Chris Hughes, Kyron Johnson, Liam Jones, Miles Kendrick, Logan Klussman, Kwame Lassiter II, Adagio Lopetti, Thomas McVitie, Cam McQueen, Ezra Naylor, Steph Robinson, Cooper Root, and Kyle Thompson. Fellas, if you're listening to this, y'all created something monumental. And I'm so proud of y'all. And I hope that the leadership that you showed in this, that those skills continue to be with you and help you at the next level. But this was the most beneficial initiative I've ever been able to create in my role as a director of player development. Keeping with our Kansas feel, shout out to the Jayhawks, I'm going to give a former player shout out to one of the players I listed that was on this player committee. I want to give recognition to those that I've coached or led who are doing great things beyond the field. This episode, I want to give a shout out to Chris Hughes from Killeen, Texas. Chris played football for the University of Kansas. Chris was an amazing leader and teammate for us during our time at Kansas. The impact he made on his teammates, the locker room, and our program were phenomenal. This was overshadowed only by the impact he made outside of our program. Chris was a continual positive force in the Lawrence community. He spent countless hours pouring into the youth in the local school district. Chris was on the Danny Warfel Watch List, which is college football's premier community service award. He was also nominated for the Bobby Bowden Award, which recognizes the Division I player who epitomizes a student athlete from a faith perspective, one who must conduct himself as an exemplary model in the classroom, on the field, on the campus, and in the community. Chris was also named the president of KU Rise, an organization which creates a community for minority student athletes. Chris graduated from Kansas with a degree in business management. He is continuing his impact there as the Kansas Student Athlete Development Specialist. And at the time of this recording, he is currently leading a group of student athletes to the 2022 Black Student Athlete Summit. Chris, man, your resume is probably longer than mine and everything that you've done at Kansas, man. I just appreciate your maturity, your care for people, and just your love to see people reach their highest level. Thank you, Chris. I'm proud of you. Man, you are the man. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for taking time to listen. Go follow Beyond the Field on Twitter and IG at BTF_program and on Facebook at BTF Program. These episodes are also loaded into YouTube, so you can find us there. Search Beyond the Field Program and subscribe there. Tag us on social media and let us know what you've learned about player development from today's show. Use hashtag #ThePDPod as the hashtag for our show. Go visit the website btfprogram.com and check out the resources and blogs. Once again, I talked about documents that I use in this role. They're there for you to download for free. Subscribe to this podcast on the platform you're listening to. Please rate and leave a review for the show. It means so much to me. Share this podcast if you believe it will benefit someone to learn more about player development. Next episode, we continue our questions of player development with questions 22 through 24, in which we will discuss the number one thing student athletes need to learn and develop outside of their athletic performance? Are universities really committed to player development? And what are some of the difficult components of your job that have the highest rewards attached to them? I look forward to the next podcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time with me. God bless you. Have a great day. Go out and create generational impact. Don't wait. Create generational impact today.